Welcome back, everybody. This is Zach with New England Sports Talk, and today we are going to be recapping Game 6, Philadelphia 76ers versus Toronto Raptors. Fun game. Again, I start every video just like that, saying it's a fun game. But yeah, tonight was good. Tonight was a good game. As usual, guys, highlights are going to be on the screen so you can kind of follow along. They might be a little bit ahead of me. They might be a little bit behind me. But basically, I'll try to recap every quarter as much as I can. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit more about the first half, a little bit more so than the second half, because the second half kind of got away from one team in particular. So without further ado, guys, let's just jump right in as usual. Kind of some backstory as far as what's going on in Game 1. I'm sorry, not Game 1, excuse me, Game 5, the game that just ended a few days ago. Siakam had a good game. They really rely on him as being kind of like that second punch to Kawhi in Toronto. And, the previous game he ended with 25 points. Not bad. He shot efficiently, so it wasn't bad either. The big story with the 76ers is, as you know, this is their biggest playoff loss that they've had in over 35 years. Ben Simmons in particular, he's been not very good. He's been terrible, actually, the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 games or so. He does turn it around a lot in Game 6, but in the last 4 straight games, he's had 10 or less points. So the dude isn't being aggressive, and they've matched Ben Simmons' minutes per game as much as they could with Kawhi. They want him to kind of guard him as much as he can. Makes sense. He's a young guy. He's a little bit more agile than probably maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say he's more agile than Jimmy Butler, but they're putting Jimmy Butler, kind of letting him stay on wing guys like Siakam and Danny Green and stuff like that. When they're kind of giving Ben Simmons the assignment to kind of grow defensively and get his momentum up, but it hasn't really translated in the previous games. This game, it starts off again though. He's basically the primary defender on Kawhi most of the time, so he's kind of matching the games, matching the minutes and things like that. So quarter one. Ben Simmons, like I said, he was not aggressive in the previous games, but he came out aggressive tonight. He ended the quarter with 8 points, with 4 or 5 shooting, so not bad at all. He's not a jump shooter, maybe unless it's like a floater or something in the lane. But he really came out tonight, shot aggressively, especially in the first quarter. Now, second quarter, he only shot like one more shot. I think he had 2 points. He had a layup or whatever. It was a putback. He had a big-time putback. I meant to actually write that down to know the time. I know he had a big putback. He had a big putback in the second quarter and also in the third quarter as well, too. I didn't write down the numbers, though. I didn't write down the times, unfortunately, though, but you'll see it in the highlights, like I said. He also had 5 assists. That's to be expected. And his plus-minus, I noticed this, he was +8. I'm going to come back on that in just a second. But Kawhi Leonard, he had 8 points, 3 of 7 shooting, 0 for 2 from three-point land. But his plus and minus was -8. So Ben Simmons was +8. Kawhi Leonard was -8. So definitely Ben Simmons got the better matchup, the better end of the deal, especially in quarter one. Obviously that's just one outlying stat. And I'm not a huge statistical guy, honestly. It's not a huge deal to me, in my opinion. But that was interesting. I noticed that. Simmons has been getting worked by Kawhi all series. And then especially on defense, obviously, Kawhi's had some really big offensive games this series. And then the first quarter comes out and has a better plus-minus than Kawhi. I thought that was interesting. Now, the big problem, though, with both teams was shooting from the three-point line. The 76ers didn't do bad in the first quarter. They went 3 of 6 from shooting from threes. By the way, they also had 4 more rebounds and 5 more assists by the end of the first quarter. The Raptors was 2 of 9 on shooting threes. The 76ers did close out the first quarter with a big 10-0 run. And then they started off with a 10-0 run, and then it kind of got to like a 16-6 run or something like that. So the Kawhi and the Raptors were responding a little bit, but for the most part, whenever they went on this run, they were able to kind of mitigate the run that the Raptors were trying to answer back with. And for the most part, they did that. They kept that 10-point increase in the lead. They kept that pretty much there. That was not bad at all. Second quarter, I thought J.J. Redick had a slick reverse layup at about 8:55 left in the half. He's not a driver. He's not a mid-range scorer. He's more of a three-point 3-and-D. Well, I don't know if I would call him like defense. He's okay defensively. He's not like I wouldn't call him a 3-and-D. He's more of just a 3-point specialist, because when you think of JJ Redick, you're not thinking about defense. You're thinking about 3-point shooting. But he had a really nice reverse layup with 8:55 left. I wrote it down because it was just, the fans. It was in Philadelphia, so obviously the fans were rowdy, and it was really good. Honestly, it was a really nice play. I really liked it a lot. The Raptors did have a 12-0 run in the second quarter, so a lot of times what happened was, since the first quarter, the 76ers just got off on a huge run, a good, very, very good first quarter. And the Raptors, I wanted to bring up this 12-0 run because it seemed like they were hitting threes at this point. They hit 1 3, actually, I guess I should say it that way. But they also had an and one in that run. They had some easy layups and easy mid-range as well, too. So they were kind of working it back up, and it got within single digits again. And for a second there, you were like, wait a second, the Raptors are coming back. We'll get back to normal or whatever. And it didn't really happen because the Philadelphia called timeout. And again, they kind of settled themselves back in. They settled down. They got their game plan running again. They ran their schemes, ran their plays, and it kind of kept the Raptors from making a huge comeback. Now, the Raptors didn't lead since the middle of the first quarter. So it'd been a while. And, the 76ers did a really good job as far as keeping them from doing that as well. Another big play that I wanted to highlight here was about a minute 18 left in the first half. Butler hit a huge and one over Kyle Lowry. He also makes a free throw. And then, the crowd, obviously, like I said, they're rowdy. They're ready to go. It's playoff basketball. They're chanting, Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler. It's pretty cool. I liked it a lot because I like to see, they actually said, if you saw the pregame, I don't know if you saw the pregame or not. If you saw the pregame, Rajon Rondo said, and I don't know how he knows this, but maybe they're friends, I don't know. He says that Jimmy Butler's not staying in Philadelphia. Again, that might have been just a prediction, or it might have been, him knowing something. Maybe they're cool. Maybe they're tight. They're kind of the similar players, They're vets. They play good defense. They focus on offense. They focus on game plan. They're intense. They don't take crap for anybody, and they hold their teammates accountable. So I would assume that those guys would kind of get along really well. Maybe Rondo and Jimmy Butler are going to team up someplace. I don't know. Don't want to start that rumor. But anyways, right after that huge and one, and he makes the free throw, by the way, over Kyle Lowry. Butler hits another layup after stealing the ball from Kawhi. It was the last play of the quarter. He gets the first and one. He scores a layup. He steals the ball, and then he gets another layup as well too. So he had like 7 points or whatever in the last minute or something like that, or 45 seconds or whatever it was. And they came out to end the first half on a hot note. The 76ers did. They did really good. Into the first half, though, Butler had 19 points, 9 of 15 shooting, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He did have 1 turnover, no biggie, though. Simmons, like I said, he started with 8 points. He ended with 10, so he only made 1 more shot after that. But he actually turned it on in the second half big time. So Kawhi, though, I wanted to talk about his numbers real quick. He had 14 points, 6 of 13 shooting, 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers, though. And he went 0 for 4 from three-point line. His three-point just wasn't hitting tonight in the first half especially. And that was still, again, that was kind of the story for the two teams. It was three-point shooting. The 76ers did hit 3 3-pointers in the first quarter, and they hit 3 more in the second quarter as well. The Raptors only made 2 in the first quarter, and then they made 1 in the second quarter. So, the 76ers, it doesn't seem like a lot. They made 3 more threes than the Raptors does. It didn't seem like a lot, honestly, on paper. But when you look at the game and you watch the game, you see how crucial those 3 points were, those 3-pointers were, because they came in the right time as well. So, end of half, the 76ers were up 58-43 on the Raptors. That was basically it for the first half, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about third quarter and fourth quarter, but I want to kind of bunch this up a little bit because they kind of run together a little bit for me. The 76ers did end the quarter, so I'm going to just jump towards the end of the third quarter here. The 76ers did end the third quarter with an 18-6 run, and by that point, they were up by 20 points going into the fourth quarter. Simmons, he got it going in the third quarter for sure. Big-time basketball from him. And this was kind of swinging it back over to the Raptors here. This is kind of their problem. It was bench scoring was their problem tonight, and it wasn't just the bench though. It was also like everybody else not named Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard on the Raptors starting lineup. Pascal and Kawhi, I looked at the numbers right after the end of the third quarter. Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard shot 16 of 35 from the field. That's 46%. So not bad. That's not bad at all. 46%. If you can get that out of two big players there, that's not bad at all. You take that. Everybody else, though, including the bench and either the other 3 starters as well, they shot 8 of 27, which is 30%. And if you think about that, you got Marc Gasol, you've got Danny Green, you got Kyle Lowry that's supposed to be stepping up again. You got Fred VanVleet, which, oh God, he had a great game last game, but they did not need to play him as much as they did tonight. Serge Ibaka, I don't know. I don't think Serge Ibaka is going to be on the team again next year. Here's my opinion, but that's just a prediction. But he's not doing very good. He didn't do bad in the points column, but it's just like when you see him and you watch the game, you see his positioning. He doesn't have very good positioning anymore, I feel like, and he's not diving for loose balls anymore. He's not playing good, solid defense. He's flopping. So, I honestly don't know. I don't think he'll be on the team next year. But that's just me. That's just my opinion, guys. Going into the fourth quarter, though, I wanted to talk about, before we talk about kind of the final numbers of each of the players in the game, in the final score, I wanted to talk about how the 76ers were able to really win this game. And in my opinion, it was the way that they closed quarters. So fourth quarter, they already had a big lead. But in the first quarter, they went on a 16-6 run, like I said. In the second quarter, they went on a 9-2 run. A lot of that was Jimmy Butler at the end of the half, where he had 7 by himself. And then to end the third quarter, they had an 18-6 run. So the name of the game for the 76ers tonight was finishing strong. That's really what it was. They had good basketball plays, good communication, good defense, good intensity to finish off the quarters. A lot of times you see players and teams in basketball games where they kind of start strong and then they kind of simmer off a little bit. And that wasn't the case tonight. They finished the quarter strong and they continued it strong as well too. Like I said, in the second quarter when the Raptors tried to go on that 12-0 run, Philadelphia, what did they do? They called a timeout. Brett Brown called a timeout, and he kind of reorganized that team and got him ready to go right after that to kind of counteract that run that he was seeing. Now, one really, really, really big problem that I saw with the Raptors, like I said, how much the scoring variety was just solely on Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard. Marc Gasol didn't get his first basket with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, he gets his first basket. That's it. I was like, what in the world? I knew it too because I saw him shoot it, and I was like, when I saw him shooting it, I was like, why? I haven't seen Marc Gasol, and I watched the entire game. I haven't seen Marc Gasol shoot a single shot this time, tonight. And sure enough, he didn't. And then the commentators were like, yeah, he didn't shot. This is his first shot. I was like, that's what I thought too. Like, you can't do that, Marc Gasol. Like I said, you and Joel Embiid were the primary matchup that I was watching the most tonight. Joel Embiid, he didn't have an efficient game, but he did have a pretty good game. He had some really good moments tonight, and you didn't hold up your side of the game. So that's kind of, I think that's why the Raptors lost. It was a big part of Marc Gasol. They were relying way too much on Pascal and Kawhi to get their scoring, and it wasn't like the other guys weren't taking shots. They were. The problem is that they weren't making the shots either, though, and they were having decent looks as well. So that was pretty much it for that recap, guys. The Raptors do lose to Philadelphia 76ers, 112-101. Jimmy Butler had a big game, 25 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. He came to play tonight. Ben Simmons also had a huge game, 21 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds. Joel Embiid, like I said, he didn't have a very efficient game, but he ended with 17 points and 12 rebounds. He shot 5 of 14 from the field, so that's like roughly like mid 30%, something like that. That's not typically gonna win you games, but when you have Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler balling, it did in this case. Kawhi Leonard ended with 29 points, 12 rebounds. Pascal Siakam ended with 21 points, 6 rebounds. So that was it, guys. As always, go ahead and hit that like button. Leave a comment on what you thought about the game, and remember to smash that subscribe button. See you in the next one.